How far will someone go to deny the truth? The classroom felt strangely quiet. 17-year-old Jade Williams sat frozen at her desk, her fingers gripping the edges of her graded test. A big red 100% was written at the top. It should have been a proud moment, but instead, she felt every stare in the room burning into her skin. At the front, Mr. Thomas Reynolds, the AP calculus teacher, stood still, his brow furrowed, lips pressed into a thin line. He tapped his marker against the whiteboard, disbelief clear on his face. "This," he said, holding up Jade's test, "is impossible." Some students exchanged amused looks, while others looked simply confused. Jade's stomach tightened. She always knew Mr. Reynolds didn't really see her intelligence. He saved his praise for students like Logan Carter and Emma Sinclair, the wealthy, well-connected white kids. But she never thought he'd outright accuse her. "What do you mean, impossible?" she asked, trying to keep her voice calm. Mr. Reynolds crossed his arms, looking at her doubtfully. "No one in this class has ever gotten a perfect score on my advanced test. And you," he paused, eyeing her like she didn't belong, "somehow outscored everyone by a lot." A murmur spread through the room. Jade swallowed. "I studied. You gave us the review sheet, and I don't believe it." Reynolds cut her off, his voice sharper. "There's no way you earned the score fairly." A gasp went around the class. Logan chuckled, leaning back in his chair, a smug grin on his face. Emma covered her mouth like she was shocked, but Jade could see the smirk she was hiding. Jade clenched her fists. "Are you accusing me of cheating?" "I am." The words hit her like a slap. Laughter broke out from Logan's side of the room. Jade felt her face get hot. "That's not true. I've always been good at math. I worked hard for this." Reynolds waved her test in the air. "Then prove it. Show me your notes." I don't have them," Jade stammered. "I did most of the work in my head." Reynolds scoffed. "Oh, so you magically solved college-level calculus in your head?" "I don't think so." He turned to class. "If she really understands this, she can do the problems again right now." More whispers spread. Some students looked at her with pity. Logan just smirked, waiting for her to fail. Reynolds slapped a blank sheet on her desk. "Go on. Show us." Jade stared at the paper. She knew she could do it, but that wasn't the point. No one else was being tested like this. Lifting her chin, she asked, "Why don't you make Logan or Emma do theirs again?" Reynolds' face darkened. "They didn't get a perfect 100. You did." Jade's heart pounded. "Or maybe," she said slowly, keeping her voice steady, "you just can't believe a black girl could outscore your favorite students." The room went silent. Reynolds' jaw tightened. "Excuse me." "You heard me," Jade replied, refusing to look away. "You never call on me in class. You never praise my answers. But now that I did better than everyone, you call me a cheater." Some students shifted awkwardly. Others glanced around, unsure what to do. "I don't care what nonsense you're saying," Reynolds sneered. "I'm reporting this to the principal." He snatched her test and crushed it in his hand. "Your grade is invalid." Jade's chest tightened. "This isn't fair." "Life isn't fair," Reynolds snapped. Just then, the classroom door opened. Principal Daniel Harrington, a tall man with sharp eyes in his late 50s, walked in. His gaze swept the tense room before stopping on Reynolds. "Mr. Reynolds," he said evenly, "I'd like to have a word with you now." Could it really end like this? Jade sat frozen, her heart pounding, as Harrington's stare turned to her. The whispers in the classroom faded. "Miss Williams," he said, his deep voice calm, "could you come with me?" Jade swallowed hard. The humiliation still burned inside her. Mr. Reynolds had called her a cheater in front of everyone. Now, she was being singled out again. Her legs felt weak as she grabbed her bag and stood. Logan snickered from the back, sharing looks with Emma. They were enjoying this. But Jade had to follow the principal. Outside, the hallway felt strangely quiet compared to classroom. Jade noticed Ms. Rodriguez, the guidance counselor, standing by a cart with a laptop on it. The screen showed a paused, grainy black and white security video. Principal Harrington turned to Jade. "Do you know what this is?" Jade nodded slowly. It was a classroom CCTV footage. Without saying anything else, Principal Harrington pressed play. Jade's eyes widened as she watched. The video showed Mr. Reynolds earlier that morning, sitting at his desk, flipping through the graded tests. When he got to hers, his face changed. He stared at her paper for an uncomfortable amount of time, his lips moving like he was muttering to himself. Then his jaw tightened and he slammed the paper down. Moments before returning the test, he pulled out his phone, typed something quickly, and shook his head in frustration. There's no way in hell she's that smart. His faint voice could be heard on the recording. Jade's fist tightened. Harrington sighed through his nose. We've checked older footage too, Jade. This isn't the first time he's done something like this. Ms. Rodriguez, the guidance counselor, looked at Jade gently. We're taking this very seriously. You're not in trouble, but Mr. Reynolds is. Just then, the classroom door behind him flew open. Reynolds stormed out, his face red with anger. This is ridiculous. That footage doesn't prove anything. Harrington turned to him calmly. It proves everything. Reynolds scoffed. So what? You're going to believe this little girl over me? Harrington's face hardened. No, I'm believing the evidence. He stepped closer. Mr. Reynolds, you are officially suspended, effective immediately. Reynolds' mouth fell open. You can't be serious. You'll collect your things and leave now. A heavy silence filled the hallway. Jade noticed two security officers standing at the end, ready to escort him. Reynolds' eyes darted around, looking for someone to defend him, but no one did. Finally, with a frustrated growl, he turned and stomped away. Jade let out a shaky breath. Harrington turned back to her, a small smile softening his normally strict face. And you, Miss Williams, have just earned yourself a full ride scholarship. Jade's eyes widened. Wait, what? Harrington nodded. We reached out to some academic organizations. They were very impressed with your talent and your strength. Jade's heart raced. This wasn't just justice. This was karma. By lunchtime, the whole school knew. Ridgewood High buzzed with the news of Mr. Reynolds' fall and Jade Williams' rise. Some students were shocked. Others whispered that they weren't surprised. But one thing was clear. Jade wasn't just another student anymore. People would remember her name. Sitting at her usual cafeteria table, she scrolled through her phone, reading the flood of messages. Congrats, girl. You showed him. You earned that scholarship. Damn, I always knew Reynolds was unfair. But not everyone was happy. Across the cafeteria, Logan Carter and Emma Sinclair sat whispering with their group, throwing glances her way. Finally, Logan stood up. His voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp enough to quiet his table. Biggest scam of the year. Jade sighed, put her phone down. She wasn't in the mood, but Logan kept going. He turned toward her. Yo, Jade, he called, voice dripping with sarcasm. Tell us, how does it feel to play the victim and get rewarded for it? A few gasps echoed. Jade clenched her jaw and slowly stood up, locking eyes with him. The only person who got exposed here was Mr. Reynolds, she said, voice calm but cold. I worked hard for that test. I earned my grade. Just because you couldn't beat me doesn't mean I cheated. Logan's smirk twitched. Please, we all know you just got lucky. Lucky? Jade raised an eyebrow and stepped closer. Tell me, Logan, where was my luck when Reynolds ignored me every time I raised my hand? Where was my luck when I had to study twice as hard just to be noticed? Her voice sharpened. Or are you just mad that a black girl outsmarted you? The cafeteria fell silent. Logan's face turned red. You're pathetic, he muttered before storming off. Emma scoffed and followed him. Jade let out a breath, shaking her head. A few students clapped. Others nodded at her. But she didn't need their approval. She had already won. The next morning, Ridgewood High's auditorium buzzed with whispers. Students, teachers, even a few parents packed the seats. Principal Harrington stepped forward. Yesterday, he began, Mr. Reynolds was suspended after proof of discrimination in his classroom. Gasps rippled through the room. But this is about more than one teacher. It's about what kind of school we choose to be. He turned toward Jade. Miss Williams, please stand. Jade's heart thudded as she slowly stood. I want everyone here to know, Harrington said, Jade didn't just stand up for herself. She stood up for fairness. And because of her courage, real change is happening. Applause erupted. Jade blinked back tears. For her excellence and strength, Harrington continued, I'm proud to announce that Jade has received a full academic scholarship to any university of her choice. Cheers shook the auditorium. Some students stood to clap. Teachers wiped away tears. Jade's chest swelled. Reynolds had tried to tear her down, but instead, she stood taller than ever. Justice had been served, and this was only the beginning.